Viewers, the Middle East is on a knife's edge. The situation is getting more and more volatile by the minute, and both sides are not ready to back down just yet. Today, Iran struck Israel's largest hospital, the Soroka Medical Center in southern Israel. This is a facility that has over 1,000 beds and provides services to about a population of 10 lakh people who live in the area. At least 70 people were injured in the attack, and the bombardment of the hospital was naturally seen as a major escalation by Israel in this conflict. In return, Israel bombarded yet another nuclear facility in Iran. This time it was the Arak Nuclear Reactor, a facility that plays a critical role in Iran's nuclear ambitions. The heavy water nuclear reactor of the facility was left decimated by Israeli attacks. Remember that Israel has left no stone unturned in their bid to target Iranian nuclear facilities. Natanz, Fordo and Isfahan were all targeted by the IDF, with Arak being the latest to face the wrath of Israel. Now, Israel has made it clear, though, that they will not relent until the supreme leader of Iran is eliminated.
They're targeting a hospital. In this hospital, there are patients who are immobile. They can't even move. Right next to it is a children's ward, a baby's ward, infants. They target it. They're the arch terrorists of the world. They want to have nuclear terrorism, which will put the entire world under nuclear blackmail, and they would use these weapons. That's what the Ayatollah Khamenei says that he would do. He would use these weapons.
קבענו את יעדי המלחמה להכיר איום גרעיני, איומי השמדה ולסכל את איומי הטילים, ובתוך הדבר הזה צה"ל נלחם ויודע וכדי להשיג את כלל המטרות, בהחלט האיש הזה לא צריך להמשיך להתקיים.
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
With missile attacks taking place between both Israel as well as Iran, we are also seeing a huge impact on ground. What can we expect in coming days? We have with us Boaz Bismuth, who is a member of the Knesset, that is, of course, the Israel Parliament, and the Likud party as well, joining us. Thank you so much for joining us here at Times Now, Mr. Bismuth. Israel and Iran have launched these airstrikes on each other, and this makes it the 7th day of the conflict. First and foremost, what's your assessment of the current situation on this conflict?
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me. There is one big difference between Iran and Israel in this conflict. Israel is defending itself, and Iran wants to destroy Israel ever since the first day of the Republic Islamic was born in February 1979. Now, you must understand, Israel, you're asking a question, and the answer is very clear. Israel will not allow Iran to be nuclear. Israel will not allow Iran to continue developing its ballistic missiles, and we see perfectly well what those missiles are doing to our population. Another thing that people, our friends in India, must understand, while we attack military platforms, nuclear platforms, military commanders, they attack hospitals. This morning in Beersheba, they attacked an hospital, and the kids, I mean, this is a place just almost a few meters where kids are being healed. So there is a big difference. And again, as I said before, we want to live happily and in peace with our neighbors. Iran doesn't want to exist. This is the huge difference between Israel and the Islamic Republic of Iran.
Right. While as far as this hospital attack is concerned, public has been advised to avoid visiting the hospital. Authorities have, been evaluating the situation. But big questions being raised about how vulnerable Israel is. What are the measures that are being taken to protect hospitals in particular and other critical facilities amidst this escalating conflict?
This is a very good question, sir, and I'll be honest with you. I mean, you speak about the country, you speak about the nation, you speak about people who are very concerned one to another, and we have what you call the cult of life. On the other side, you've got people, it can be in Gaza, Hamas, it can be the Islamic Republic of Iran, it can be Islamist militias in Iraq, where they have the cult of death. Meaning, for us, first of all, number one is to protect our civilians. Now, it is true that you cannot have 100% protection. This is obvious. It is true also that over there, people protect missiles. In Israel, missiles protect people. But you can't have a guarantee of 100%. But what I tell the people, and today I visited, I mean, yes, I must be honest and tell you, I mean, this is places that I would never imagine to see in cities like Bat Yam, cities like Holon, where so many buildings, yes, I must admit, buildings, not a building, buildings were hit, cars were totally destroyed, and people, this is the most important, people were killed. including kids, 7 years old, 10 years old. And the only thing I see, first of all, I see the strength of the population, because they understand one thing. Today it's conventional, tomorrow it's nuclear. And this is why we are determined to win this war.
Yes, and Israel's defense minister, Mr. Katz, has come out to say recently that Khamenei openly declares that he wants Israel destroyed. He personally gives the order to fire on hospitals, and such a man can now no longer be allowed to exist. How should one interpret this statement? Are you not ruling out the possibility that Iran's supreme leader is one of your targets?
Look, you know that in the first day of the attack, I mean, all the commanders of Iran, Army, Navy, Air Force, Passadran, Revolutionary Guard, I mean, we're all it. And this shows you the intelligence of Israel and the capacities we have. Concerning government, I mean, these are people, I mean, who decide. I can't say that Khamenei was elected. As you know, they had a revolution over there. Khamenei succeeded after the death of Ayatollah Khomeini. Iranian people are the ones to make the choice. I respect a lot Iranian people. I respect a lot Iranian culture. I respect a lot Iranian history. I mean, we are not at war against the Iranian people. We're at war against the regime. And according to what we see in the world, Iranian people also detest their regime. You remember in 2009, this green huge wave that we had. Unfortunately, because of the sadness, because of the violence of this regime, they stay in power because of their, how would I say, their terrorism rule or governments. But I can tell you one thing. It is obvious, and let's not be naive and let's be honest. It is obvious that once this war will be won, and it will be won, and much sooner than you think, then the regime will be very much fragilized.
Now, Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Arakchi is scheduled to meet with European counterparts from France, Germany, UK and the EU in Geneva for nuclear talks this Friday, even as Israeli airstrikes continue targeting Iran, according to state media reports. If these meetings do take place, do you think that this will represent a further escalation, and how will Iran respond then?
Well, I can understand the Iranians that they want to stop the war now and they want to go to the negotiation table. They were spoke very pretentiously. They thought very high of themselves, and they were threatening. I mean, they had a chance. They had a chance of having a nuclear deal, which me, by the way, did not really like, because I know that Iranians are lying. The first deal we had with them, I mean, I didn't have the 5+1 in 2015. I mean, you saw the Iranians conduct after. I mean, they lie all the way to the bomb. They want a bomb for two reasons. First of all, for their own security, to secure the existence of the regime. And second, of course, I mean, is to threaten, and yes, to destroy the state. I belong to the state of Israel. Now, concerning the Europeans, and not only the Europeans, the world must understand, this is a war we're having right now for the world, not only for Israel. Iran is a threat, and I'm not saying it, the world is saying it. Iran is a threat to stability and security of all the world.
But there are, several questions that arise. For instance, there were visuals which went viral a few days ago of the Iran state TV being struck by Israel. Sahar Imami, a prominent anchor with the Iranian state television, was even praised on social media for continuing her broadcast immediately after an Israeli strike hit the TV studio while she was midway through a bulletin. Mr. Bismuth, there have been concerns raised that this attack constitutes an assault on freedom of speech. Your thoughts on that?
If figure of speech is calling for terrorist act, if freedom of speech is calling the destruction of another nation, if freedom of speech is calling for a regime that has no respect for human rights, that I'm not for freedom of speech. And you know perfectly well, I'm looking at you, for example, now interviewing me. I respect you a lot. I respect your channel. I look at the channel. I mean, I used to work before I was a member of parliament. I look at channels in France and anywhere. But in Iran, believe me, you have people, you've got channels, you've got panels, you've got people who want freedom of speech. This channel was only broadcasting, or what would I say, praising a regime that is only a regime of terror and hatred and death. And this is why, with all due respect, I listen to all those people who speak about, my God, Israel has attacked a television channel, or my God, Israel has attacked an anchor. No. Israel has attacked another terrorist platform.
Right. But, I may ask you this because, even if there is a regime change in Iran, what's the guarantee that whichever regime follows will be any better than the one that you currently have? Because we've seen experiences in the past in different countries where regime change doesn't necessarily mean the ushering in of, say, for instance, a democratic or a republican or a liberal sort of a regime coming in.
First of all, I have too much respect for the Iranian people to choose for them. They will decide what is good for them. You know, Iranian people, I mean, it's a very, very old nation. It's a nation that contributed so much to humanity. As I said, I mean, in poetry, I think of the favorite poems that Iranians have. When I read a poem to my kid, to my son, I read him Omar Khayyam, I read him Hafez, I read him Saadi. I have a lot of respect for Iran. So this is why I believe that they're clever, I mean, very clever, not clever, very clever, and will be able to choose what is good for them. And I believe that if they really choose what is good for them, it will be also good for the world. But right now, don't forget, they had a revolution. They had a horrific revolution. And in that revolution, you must not forget also, revolution tend to continue. Revolution never stops. And to show only how much, I mean, they trick their own people. When Ayatollah Khomeini came back from Neuf-le-Château in France in 2nd of February 1979, when his 747-100 of Air France landed in Marabad Airport, he had opposition leaders from the left, from the center, who were with him in the plane. I think of Bani Sadr and company. And they were all killed. They were all eliminated. I mean, those people, those mullah, trick their own people. They're a threat. It is true that they have supporters, but who are the supporters? The Basij? Who are the supporters? Other, I mean, people who believe in terrorism and criminality? No. Iranian is a good nation with a good history, and I do believe that when they will get rid, and they're in charge of their own nation future, I believe that they will know how to choose the best for them. Iranian people deserve to have a great life.
Mr. Bismuth, you spoke about cooperation with other countries. Big question at the moment is how involved the United States has been and will be in the current Israel-Iran conflict in coming days, because while we'd seen earlier President Trump say that his patience had already run out with Iran and called for the unconditional surrender of the Islamic Republic, the big question later is that we've even seen President Trump come on to say that, he may do it, he may not do it. Nobody knows what I'm going to do, when he was asked a question about taking action against Iran. How should we interpret the United States' position? Because President Trump and his statement does not seem to be very clear.
As I said before, legitimacy from the international community is important. I'm not naive, and I know that it will not be for a long time, although Israel is doing something that is for all the world. Yet this war against Iran, I believe that we have this legitimacy. We heard the Chancellor of Germany, the way he spoke. We see leaders of the world, I mean, who support Israel because they know who Iran is. But overall, there is the American President Donald Trump, a true friend of Israel. You know, before being a journalist, member of parliament, I used to be a journalist myself. I used to be an editor-in-chief of Israel's biggest newspaper. And I interviewed with Mr. Trump a few times in the Oval Office and also during his campaign in 2016. So I know we had a lot of talks, the American president and myself, as a candidate and afterwards. Friendship, his love, not friendship, his love towards Israel is something that he does not hide. We have a friend in the White House. But because he's not only a friend of Israel, because he's also a friend of the free world, because he's also a friend of America, he knows that those who threaten the stability, those who threaten the free world, those who threaten peace, I mean, have to be fought. And this is why first of all, I want to thank President Trump for the support of America in this war. It is true that the support right now is on the defensive scale, and that is very important. We saw what missiles can do. We saw the damage, but I will not hide. I mean, if America, I would say differently, we shall obtain, I mean, the targets of this war. Iran will not be nuclear. Iran will not have its capacities, its missile capacities, and we can achieve this alone. But it's obvious that with America, it will be faster and with less casualties, and America is welcome, always.
All right, Mr. Bismuth, thank you so much for taking the time out and speaking to us here at Times Now.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.